pet fried chicken?
That's right. And along with the pet fried chicken, we'll have fresh or canned peas.
And mashed potatoes. Gotta have mashed potatoes with that smooth, rich, delicious pet milk gravy.
And mashed potatoes you'll get. And for a salad, leaf lettuce with a simple dressing of vinegar, salt, and sugar, hot rolls and butter. And for dessert, well, how'd you like fresh strawberries?
Well, confidentially, Mary Lee, next to pet milk, I love fried chicken best.
There's an old curiosity shop. Every once in a while I go by there for the fond recollections that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Baby likes bacon, and that's what I'm making while I'm cooking breakfast for the one I love. Our life has been so nice and chummy right from the start. When I won her tummy, I won her heart. My baby is happy, no wonder I'm happy while I'm cooking breakfast for the one I love.
Well, hi everybody, it's Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop, and I'm back with a good old kitchen counter thrift haul. And I told you we were going to be stuck in your grandmother's kitchen, and I wasn't kidding. We're stuck in your grandmother's kitchen, and we're not going anywhere. Now, I don't have the kitchen sink, but I've got her ceiling light fixture over there. Oh, I can't wait to tell you everything. So, and this is just some of the things that I wrote down so I wouldn't forget. But we'll start off with today's cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you, a cozy corner, a table for two.
Now, I know it's about 45 days before the first day of autumn, so I really shouldn't be using my amber glass yet, but couldn't help myself. This particular pattern here is, what is it? My gosh, it's Pineapple and Floral by the Indiana Glass Company. Get the camera on it, Scott. It was made from 1932 to 1937, and I have several pieces of it. Now let me, without spilling it and drowning my ginger snap. Okay, even the towel is from the 1940s. Get out of the way. Okay, here's a better look at it over here. Now that's the creamer and the sugar. Indiana Glass had this fantastic design where the bottom of the teacups are square. Let's see, how am I supposed to do this? Okay, let's go up here. The bottom of the teacup is square. I mean, it's a round teacup with a square bottom, but yet the spot where you place the teacup is a circular indentation on the saucer. So it's kind of interesting in a design element. We can see it's called pineapple because there's some pineapple, looks like the scales on the side of a pineapple. Are they scales? And then the flowers. So I have 2 cups and 2 saucers. I have a big cake plate, or a type of dessert serving plate here, and the creamer and sugar. Cream and sugar right there, which I like very much because they have sort of a, well, they do have a triangular bottom. Now, this stuff was reproduced, but not, this is not, excuse me, this is a solid amber color. This is the original from the 1930s. But if you're interested in collecting it, do your research and look out, because Indiana Glass stayed in business. I think they opened up around 1906. They were in business for about 100 years. They just closed in the early 2000s. And so, being in business for 100 years, they did reintroduce a lot of their glass in, you know, the 70s and 80s. This amber glass here happens to be the original. Okay, by Hazel Atlas, that's called hairpin, or actually, it can be referred to as Newport or hairpin. It looks like a hairpin, as you can see. It's a cream and sugar that was manufactured in the 1930s, and that's in Amethyst Glass. Right, Amethyst Glass. Okay, let's keep going. Let's jump over here to this pretty piece right here in opalescent with this sort of lacy edge. Now, this piece here is also made by the Imperial Glass Company in the 1930s. It is not called Katie. There was a depression glass pattern that they called Katie, and they also made several other, 3 or 4 others actually, patterns that are slightly different. But they all have this sort of lacy opalescent edge. This was made in the 1930s, and it's probably a nut dish or a candy dish or some such thing. These are difficult because you can imagine that the lacy edge often gets broken. And I'm going to just, so that I don't miss anything, I'm going to stick to my cheat sheet here and go through and talk about the mixing bowls. That is a Federal mixing bowl back there with a fired on iridescence. That dates to the 30s. The other 2 nesting mixing bowls back there are paneled mixing bowls, and they're by Anchor Hocking in the Depression Green from the 30s once again. Now these you already saw. This is a reproduction. I'm selling it anyway because a couple people said they wanted it, so that's going to be very inexpensive in the shop. Reproduction piece right there. This is an original Hazel Atlas Shirley Temple. You've seen that before. If you're new to my little channel here, you can go back and find out, I don't know, 2 or 3 videos back where I talked about the reproductions and sort of how to tell the difference. But I'm going to sell that anyway. I'm going to list it as a repro. This is an original, and they'll picture it by Hazel Atlas with Shirley Temple on it. Back there is a huge, that thing back in the 80s. I know, here he goes again. Back in the 80s, that big Pretzel jar by Anchor Hocking with its lid would sell between $200 and $300. Now, it doesn't sell for that now, and I don't have the lid. But it is pink glass, which is sometimes difficult to tell in the lighting that I use here. But it's pink depression. It's a big pretzel jar, no lid. What could you do with it? Well, you could put all kinds of utensils in it, I suppose. Or pretzels, if you don't mind them getting stale with no lid. Made in the 1930s. This is you've heard me talk about Cherry Blossom before by the Jeanette Company. It was also heavily reproduced. But this one has not been reproduced, and I talked about that in another video about how you tell the difference. And this is in green, Cherry Blossom, Jeanette, 1930 to 1939. This one over here I forgot to look up. Cannot remember the name of that pattern, but it is manufactured by Federal. They marked their glass with an F and a shield. And one of the charming things about this piece is when it came off of the assembly line, something either knocked into it because as it was cooling, I don't know how well you'll see this, but it bent forward just a little bit as it was cooling. So this piece, that's all in the manufacture, and there's a little, I think something probably knocked into it because the rim is a little bit sort of cattywampus, I guess, as my dad would say. And that's just the way it was manufactured. Remember, this stuff came off the assembly line and nobody's hands touched it. It wasn't polished, there was no finish work done. Cheap, quick, very inexpensive mass-produced glass. Anyway, I don't remember the name of this Federal pattern, but we'll put that back. And I think I've gone through my, almost all of my, well, these back here are Jeanette jadeite containers, and I'm going to talk about those in a second, but let me back up and try to now pick up everything that I left out. These little guys over here are manufactured by Anchor Hocking. You've seen these before, the little custard cups or ramekins as people call them as well. I see these a lot with the scalloped edge, but not very often in the swirl pattern, and so I bought the 6 of these because it's hard to find the swirl pattern, or harder to find it than just the smooth edge. The 6 of them will sell. They do sell. And what was I going to tell you? Oh, this is called copper tint, not peach luster. A lot of the resellers will mistakenly refer to this as peach luster, but that's incorrect. The Anchor Hocking Company did advertise their bakeware in this orange iridescence as copper tint. I keep wanting to say copper tone, that's suntan lotion. But their dinnerware was peach luster. So there is a difference, and you might want to be aware of that. If you're searching for things online, if you type in peach luster, you might not find all of the examples. You might put in copper tint and you'll find more. Okay, so that's the 6 of them. With a little research, I'll find out whether Jeanette made this or one of the other glass companies. I don't know. I don't remember. It says patent pending on the or patent applied for. It's a mixer base, and sometimes it's missing its top. Sometimes the tops were metal. It was just a hand beater. I think I'm out of focus. Let me bring this over here. Well, yeah, let's do that. So there would be a mechanical beater on the top with a green wooden handle. Mixer is what I'm trying to say. Or sometimes they were electric. You'd plug it into your outlet and there'd be a big motor on the top and it would run that way. I'm not sure which was on this, but I'm going to hold on to this until I can put a top on it. By the way, I promise you, when this video is over, I'm going to go back over and tell you everything that is currently listed in the shop and the things that I think I'm going to keep for myself, so that you'll know what I'm selling and what I'm keeping. Manufactured by, let's see, Anchor Hocking. This is a piece of Moonstone, which was produced during the war, 1941 up through 46. That's a cloverleaf dish. No, is that clover? Anyway, it's a dish. I love Moonstone. It doesn't seem to be hugely popular with a lot of collectors, but I love it. A little hazel atlas shaker with the HA on the bottom. We can see there. Yes, we can. Great to find this. I paid $1 for it, even though he's all by himself. That lid is worth that much, but I'll keep this guy together. Maybe I'll put cinnamon in it and cinnamon my toast that way. I found 10, yes, 10, count them, 10. I don't know why my camera keeps going in and out of focus. I hope I don't have to redo this whole video. 10 1930s Art Deco cobalt little cocktail glasses. Can you imagine what these are going to look like next to one of the big chrome cocktail shakers? I was thrilled to find a set of 10 of these. It's going to take me some research to figure out who the maker was. I couldn't tell you off the top of my brain because it doesn't look familiar to me, but it's definitely one of the 1930s makers. Another beautiful set of amber glass. I don't know who made this, but I'm going to find out because I love the lines. It is polished on the bottom, as you can see, so I think this was more expensive and might be considered one of the elegant depression glass lines. That would be my thought. And that set has 4 dinner plates, 4 cups and saucers, and 4 they're not cereal bowls because they're too small. So little dessert bowls, little tiny serving bowls. And, you know, I didn't used to care for amber glass because it reminded me too much of the 70s, and I'm not a fan of 70s design. But this amber color is just, it's different, I think, from the 70s amber. I don't know, maybe I'm just being silly and there's no difference at all. But there's just a beauty when you get this in the light, and I'm not talking about that light, but when you get it in the sunlight, it just glows like autumn, and I love using this in the fall. So, pretty stuff. A black glass vase, could be L.E. Smith, I always say that, because they made most of it. But I don't know, it looks like it's from the 30s. I like it. A great big, wonderful Mexicana, oh, get up here without dropping it, mixing bowl. I think did the music stop? We can't have that. Let's turn it upside down. It's Kitchen Craft, we can see right there. Kitchen Craft Oven Serve by Homer Laughlin. And is this Mexicana? I forget. But it was a popular, the Mexican themes and Southwestern themes were popular in kitchens in the 40s. And so, doesn't this towel go beautifully with it? So anyway, that's one of the big mixing bowls from that series. Now these you saw before too, and I said I wasn't going to sell them. I changed my mind. They are now for sale. There are 6 of them. They're milk glass spice jars. Originally, you could put your own paper label on the front here. The labels are gone, so do what you want. Print something out that's sort of Art Deco in design, or just leave them plain. I like how Art Deco they are. The lids all screw off and on. They're unmarked on the bottom, and I'm not sure of the maker, but you could do anything you want with those. So these are going to go up in the old curiosity shop because I prefer jadeite, and I found these 2 recently. I only paid $12 each for them because when I bought them, they were missing their lids. And I happen to have, let's see, about 10 lids that are absolutely almost identical to what was on these. There are no holes in the top because these weren't salt and pepper shakers. There's nothing on them. The lettering hasn't worn off. These would have had paper labels on them and lids that screw on tightly because this was not a range set. Jeanette did make a range set with holes in the top as a shaker, but this would be for allspice, paprika, that kind of thing. So, and yes, indeed, they did originally have black lids. And I bought these inexpensively because I knew I had lids, so I'm keeping those. I will be keeping this because I'm going to, now when I sit and have my coffee and ginger snap, I'm going to do it in style on top of a, really, I guess it's a tiny little trivet coaster from the New York World's Fair, and you know it's 1939 even though there's no date on it because of the Tryon and, wait a minute, I'm going to get that wrong. Perisphere? Not Perisphere. I'm saying it wrong. The Tryon and something, whatever they called that. But that's the symbol of the 1939 World's Fair, New York. I love this little cheap foil-covered souvenir that somebody brought back, and now it's going to be perfect for me to put my coffee cup on top of. How exciting. That's the Hazel Atlas Gay Rainbow Milk Pitcher in Platinite with Fired On. These came in 4 colors. You've seen me talk about those before. I just got that a few days ago. This stack of, is it 10? I can't tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe it's 12. Beautiful, elegant depression glass etched green plates. There's not a chip on them, barely a scratch. I don't know the maker because I can't find my elegant depression glass book. I put it away and I don't know where it is. But these are fantastic. Can you see these at Christmas time on a red tablecloth? I mean, you could match all kinds of glass with that. Those are absolutely beautiful. I hate to part with them, but I can't keep everything. I do not live in a museum, and these are going to be for sale. So, okay. This I am going to keep. It is a Hazel Atlas glass nut grinder from the 1930s. We know that because of the green. One poured it alone. Not Christmas. Kitchen tin. When I saw it, I thought, oh, when I open it up, I hope the others are inside, and they weren't. But it's nice to find one anyway in good condition. That'll be for sales from the 40s. I'm keeping this. It's a sifter. It's from the 30s. Again, there's that kitchen. There's that wonderful depression green that I love so much. I know I'm going fast because, gosh, I don't want this to be, 2 hours long. Here is a wonderful, I couldn't resist. Just take a look at that. Now, I haven't cleaned it yet, but believe me, I'm going to be taking it all apart and scrubbing this and cleaning it because I'm going to be chopping. Now, you can chop anything you want. Eggs, tomatoes, pickled beets, doesn't matter to me. Why is it on this plate and so fancy? Well, oftentimes this could be carried out to the breakfast table, although I don't know if you eat sliced eggs at breakfast. I've never heard of that. But you could use this at the dinner table and or leave it out, and it just looks fantastic. This, by the way, you twist it and it does come off of this plate so that it can be cleaned. Let me try to show you the bottom of it. Hopefully it's not upside down. And we see it's called the Wales Slicer. The patent is pending. Belmont Products. And I haven't done any research on this, but I know from the look of it, we're talking about something from the 1920s or 30s. All right, let's keep moving. There's a reamer that has no name on it, so who knows? Jeanette, Hocking, Hazel Atlas, in Depression Green. I find these quite often, but I do not buy them if they are terribly chipped, and that one is not. I think I covered everything except this fantastic kitchen light. Oh my goodness, when I saw it, everybody say it with me, I just about got. I'm not going to say it because you're all saying, oh, he says that all the time. I'm not going to say it. I just about got detached retina. I said it. The original chain, let's pull it so you can hear that wonderful sound. That's a sound you don't hear much anymore. Porcelain with beautiful, this is not, what am I trying to say? Sort of custard glass. Painted, it's in perfect condition. It's made by the Porcelain Company, and this dates to the 1930s. That will sell for $150 or more. Original Porcelain kitchen light fixtures like this are sought after. They're hard to find. I paid $25 for it and was thrilled spitless when I saw it. At some point, I'm going to stick a light bulb in there and turn it on so that you can get the effect of it. But right now, we're just going to leave it as it is and maybe take a closer look at it later. All right, let me put everything back and then quickly tell you that almost everything you see here is for sale, but most of the green stuff I'm keeping because I gravitate towards that. So for the moment, although sometimes I change my mind, I'm keeping this guy and this guy. The little shaker. I will be selling the plates, though. I'm keeping the jadeite and the nut grinder, the sifter. Probably going to sell the mixing bowls, and then Everything else is for sale except the amber glass. I'm going to be making a decision about that very soon, and so some of that amber glass is going to wind up in the old curiosity shop. Okay, I know I went fast because I really just wanted you to get to see everything. I have been working to get stuff listed, and I don't know when this video is going to go up, but I will tell you that most of this glass, what I'll do is I'll put it up at an auction, and that means it's going to run for 7 days. So if you see anything you're interested in, it's going to be good for at least 7 days in the shop. And I'll try to synchronize the release of this video so that it's right around the time that I begin the auction on all these items. And what I would typically do is, I start my auctions off pretty low. Sometimes you'll get a really, really, really good deal. Sometimes, it goes pretty high because there might be 2 or 3 people fighting over it. And if it doesn't sell, or if I set my price too high, then I'll go back, and when I relist it, I put a buy it now price, and those prices are always negotiable. So if you see anything you like, I put the link to the old curiosity shop below, and thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed spending some time in Grandma's kitchen. This is Scott from the old curiosity shop saying thanks for watching, and so long for now.